The definition of sober is to not be affected by alcohol or any other intoxicating drugs, or to be under the influence of them. Which sounds kind of simple. It's to just not take in any foreign substances that might chemically alter our minds, body, or mood. When I was a kid, of course, you never think about being in some kind of altered state. Unless you count sugar highs, like on Halloween night, coming home with all your candy and getting into it and being on a sugar high for the next few hours. But it's hard to grow up in our society where TV and ads, music, billboards, and our friends and family subject almost every one of us to the idea or thought of experimenting with alcohol or drugs. I was certainly around it plenty growing up. I got drunk for the first time when I was 13. That was an unpleasant experience enough that I can say I didn't want to try it again. At least not right away. Fast forward many years later, in 2017 when I was 37 years old, living in a small house by myself. I was working, but I would come home every night and get drunk, intoxicated, by myself. I was an alcoholic, and I knew it. But what I didn't know was that my family knew it too. And they saw that by January of 2017, something had to be done. So January 2017, January 17th, I'm at home by myself, drinking just like usual, and I hear pounding on the door. And I can tell it's my dad's yelling in through the door to open up. And I kind of frantically scramble to my feet and I start cleaning up the booze bottles that I had laying around. And I come to the door and I open it, and he comes inside and tells me to sit down. So I sit down on the couch, and he had a look of anger and disappointment on his face. I still remember the way he looked. And in the situation, I remember feeling scared and anxious, and I remember starting to shake, because that's what happens when you're an alcoholic and you get emotionally stressed. You start to shake. And he looked at me and he said, "You can either stay here and die or come with me tonight, but you're never coming back to this house to live." So I made the choice right there. I'm obviously going to go. And that was the last time I ever took a drink. And I packed some things and left my house and started on my sober journey. I remember at that time too that I knew I was in bad shape. I had edema, my shins and ankles were swollen, I was jaundiced, my eyes were yellow, my skin was kind of yellowish in tone, and I knew I was in bad shape. And he basically said, "Get sober or die." So am I telling anyone to get sober or die? Maybe. Maybe you're in the situation where you are a really heavy drinker and you either need to give up drinking, or it's just a matter of time until your body gives out. Or more probably is the case where you're kind of a casual drinker and maybe drink a little too much, and you're thinking of cutting back on drinking or just getting sober altogether. I think that's the better choice, but you might not know what to expect. So the bottom line is, by telling this story, I went through it. I got sober. I know what it's like, and I want to share these thoughts, experiences, and stories with anyone who will listen. Anyone who wants to watch these videos and might be apprehensive about the thought of getting sober or just curious. I'm not an expert. I think of myself as kind of an ordinary guy. I'm not an expert on sobriety. I by no means have more notches on my belt as far as years of sobriety. There's plenty of other people out there in the world that have more years sober than I do. I just think of myself as kind of like the ordinary guy who figured it out. I did it on my own. And over 8.5 years later now, I'm still sober as can be. Never even thought of taking a drink. Lifestyle-wise, I'm a lot better spot than I am now than I was back then. But that's part of the choices that I've made after getting sober and making the ultimate choice then and there that night when my dad told me, you either come with me now or you stay here and die. And what's nice about this platform and doing these videos like on YouTube, and so it's kind of like I'm saying, hello world, here I am, here's my story. It's not like it's a story that you really want to just contact people and tell them first thing, hi, how you doing? I'm a recovering alcoholic. My name's Trip Williams. That's not the way conversations usually go. But with a platform like YouTube that can reach millions of people all over the world, somebody's going to want to listen. Somebody's going to want to know what it's like to go through it. And I'm sure there's other people with videos or made videos before about these kinds of experiences and getting sober. I might just be another one, but it's my story, and I know it'll help. I wish I had known that there could have been videos like this back when I started getting sober, because I didn't know what to expect. And we'll touch more on that in some following videos as far as what to expect once you decide to make the choice. That's it. I'm cutting out alcohol. If you're a heavy drinker, you're going to be in for a tough road ahead, and we'll cover that. So, am I saying I think anyone has to get sober? I'm not saying that. I'm not going to make anybody make that choice. It's a free country. There's plenty of people I know who enjoy alcohol socially and responsibly, but if you are someone who has a drinking problem, I think it's probably a better choice to make, to give it up. That, look, if anybody comes to me and says, I'm thinking of giving up alcohol, yes or no? Yeah. Don't put that poison in your body anymore. You're in for, the pros and cons, the pros far outweigh the cons, or you might say the benefits of continuing to drink. I'm biased, I know, but there's a longer list of positives to giving up drinking than there are a list of positives to continue to drink. So, like I said, the bottom line is, I'm making this video to tell you that there's going to be more videos to come of my stories and experiences, and anyone that wants to listen, I think it'll help and give you hope. So if you like this content, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified for more videos. Thanks for your time.